It is now the right time for us to get into our motivational starter for today as we surely get prepared into having an amazing weekend. We'd love surely ushering you into your weekend with an informed perspective of the energy you're supposed to carry throughout the weekend. Luckily, this one will be a long one, coupled by the Youth Day celebrations. The country will surely be celebrating on a Monday, but what a better way of surely adding a tag to the celebrations of our weekend by surely focusing on who we are. And of course, we are our names according to how an author I have in the studio, an awareness ambassador with regards to mental health, defines what we are as a people. His name is Dr. Ndandalika, and of course, he says that he loves expressing the art in the greatest of things through poetry, as he calls us to our passions, love, as well as humanity. And he is sitting next to me right here on live radio. Good afternoon and welcome to our motivational starter for today.
Good afternoon, and I'm glad to be here.
All right, glad to have you as well. And we also have in the studio Mr. Simon Longwe, who is also referred to as Jomo. He is he's coming from the Acrostics Publishing Company, is it?
Yes, sir.
All right. And of course, we appreciate poetry this afternoon on our motivational starter for today with an interesting book that is titled We Are Our Names. And I'd say that, Mr. Henry, let's begin our conversation obviously by building onto the subject of the book you've authored titled We Are Our Names.
All right. We Are Our Names. It's a poetry anthology that is going to be out soon, and it hasn't been on the market yet. But it's a brilliant collection of poems that are meant to speak to individuals at different levels and different times in their lives, to try and reach out into ourselves, so that we might realize who we are first. The idea broadly is more or less this way. In order for you to be anything in life, or whether you're going to have a lovely weekend and have fun over the weekend, meet the love of your life, or anything like that, you must first define yourself. Who are you? And once you define yourself fully, and you're at the top of the mountain in cloud nine, very happy, then you can fall in love as in one piece. So it's a multiple perspective of what life brings to you and how you could first today, based on the fact that it's a Friday and I don't want to spoil people's Fridays, we probably won't talk about the themes that are related to loss and death and culture. We try and incline towards the poems that are inclined towards happiness and love, so that then
but we shouldn't run away from reality, please. Joe, we shouldn't run away from reality.
Aren't we good at rhyming?
No.
Don't we rhyme all the time?
That's what we do.
I was looking at this theme here, which is focusing on future coffins, and I was laughing to myself.
Future coffins, for sure. That's what we turn into in the end, right?
Awesome. And of course, you decided not to go the usual way of packaging books, but go the route of surely speaking your mind through poetry. Where do you draw your love for poetry, and as just appreciating the narrative that is there in the country that, well, there is less of interest exhibited by people through reading the traditional books, but with you, it is something that is different. Why did you decide to package it in the poetry manner?
Traditionally, if you look at, I think we just underappreciate poetry as humans, as it were, and everyone attempts to be a poet when they fall in love and try to find sweet ways to lure someone into the bed or wherever else they want to lure them to. But in actual sense, all writing is a figment of poetry. It's an expansion of poetry. So poetry is a condensed form of everything you ever talk about in your life. If you look at poetry that way, then you would definitely, and all the time, be the kind of person that is poetic when you express yourself.
Mhm.
So I didn't have to draw this from anywhere. I
Mhm.
really just observe people, like you put it, and listen to them. So this is not entirely my words alone. It's the friends I've met, my family, my relatives, my schoolmates, and everyone. It is uh, a, a, a representation of my association with the world and how it has impacted me and how I have impacted them.
Mm.
It's really the anthology of how you live life and life itself as it has become.
Mm. All right, awesome. Simon, I know for a fact that you did play a part in the creation of this particular masterpiece, and you are part of the people who did edit this particular book. What was your first reaction towards just the title itself, We Are Our Names, and just the concept of it all, knowing for the fact that this is so unusual?
Yes. Actually, We Are Our Names is the title, happens to be the title of a poem also in this particular book. So it's also the title of the poem. So, we are privileged at Acrostics Publishing to receive this original manuscript for this work. And I must say at this point that it wasn't originally intended to be called We Are Our Names.
Okay.
So when we received the manuscript initially,
Mhm.
and we went through, evaluated the manuscript, and we found the poetry was so exciting, and there was a very deep and very nice poem that kind of spoke to me, and
Mhm.
I shared with the author, what I thought about this poem, and eventually I think the author, decided that he was going to call this book We Are Our Names, and I think we were agreed on this because the particular poem
Mhm.
and the rest of the poems kind of were, correlated, are well correlated in a way with that, through that poem.
Mhm.
It kind of ties the whole book together. So somehow, and the message in the particular poem,
Mhm.
I think for me it was it was a poem which I found to have face value.
Mhm.
If I may quote it. Yeah. So it had that face value,
Mhm.
and then it created sort of discussion points from the message that was contained in the
Mhm.
same poem. Yeah. So somehow, yeah, that's how we evolved into having this book to be called We Are Our Name. So it was really a back and forth
Mhm.
with the author, and maybe with the publisher thinking this poem was really so catchy to actually make it the book title as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Mhm.
Somehow, yeah, that was a bit of a background about how this, book came up from manuscript to what we
Mhm.
are holding right here in our hands.
All right.
Yes.
With the inspiration, obviously you've tapped from the author's point of view to how this book has impacted you. If you were to put it in bullet point form, what exactly would you say this book will do unto someone who reads it?
This book will bring um, a sense of, I think for me, ultimately, it's a sense of hope.
Mhm.
Because there's a lot of thoughts that go on in our heads that we never share with the next person or don't
Mhm.
have enough time to share. So, such, concepts can only be shared through books. So for me, there is this, when you read this book, you feel
Mhm.
that you're not alone. There is another person who's going through the different themes that I explored in this poem, and to know that not just another person going through the different aspects, but to see, to know and see that there is actually another person who's sharing a perspective as yours, or a counter perspective to what you've always thought, So it's quite thought provocative in a way. It provokes one's thinking, one's thoughts, one's boundaries of thought, and it's exciting, very refreshing as a matter of fact, and it takes you to places of your mind that you've not explored. Sometimes
Mhm.
we feel bored simply because we are in the same spaces of our minds for longer periods. You know, we don't explore our own selves. So I think Henry Ndandalika, being the philosophical writer that he is, kind of helps one, especially for, maybe I can speak for an average Zambian even, helps one to kind of get to explore those, you know, corners of your minds that you've not, you know, that you don't explore daily, or that you may not easily, you know, perspectives you may not just ponder on, you know, on an average day, because, you know, it's not given for everyone to, you know, to think like that. So I think somehow for me that's a benefit. It's going to, you know, it's going to empower you. You don't have to belabor to think about certain things. I mean, the poet has already maybe kickstarted the ball, so you can just kind of pick it up and play with it, and you know, feel the rhythms of your own mind, or feel, you know, feel the beauty of the unexplored spaces of your own mind. Yeah, so in a nutshell, that's what I would say.
All right. Dr. Ndandalika, bringing you on board, I know for a fact that you share with us some poems. Looking at time, maybe 3 would be okay for now. I'm looking at some of them, they're very short.
Very precise.
Very precise, brief, straight to the point. And of course, I would want to surely get us the inspiration to the titles in this particular book. I know for a fact that you've touched on it rather, within the introduction of us surely starting this conversation. Kindly help us to just get the glimpse of what inspired certain pieces of poems in this book. Maybe I can pick from just the first one, Welcome Child. You say, what exactly inspired this poem? At which point were you at when you were writing it?
Welcome Child. Welcome Child.
The Banyaman also.
Yeah, it's one also. Welcome Child is very related to our names. It's actually it was written for parents, for pregnant mothers, for people who are in love and expecting to have a child. It calls the reader of this poem, or whoever is reciting it, to reflect on the gravity of what they're going to bring into the world. It scares you and then gives you hope at the same time. The idea is like having a child and means it's beyond. So it starts from, it sort of draws you in from the time you're pregnant to the time, that's the way it's structured, the poem, and then introduces you to the child who is born through the love that you have with this person, which is either voluntary or involuntary. You could be abandoned by the person who made you pregnant and all those things. But then eventually this child comes forth. And when this child comes forth, you have then to name them, of course, to make them and accept them into this world. Once you name them and accept them into this world, then you have now to grow them. And eventually, as a parent, you eventually have to love them enough to keep them, and eventually love them enough to let go, because they have to become their own person. Like you and me here, our parents not here, we're not being checked anymore, but they had to love us enough to let us go, deliberately or accidentally. So this is not one of those very simplified poems. This is one of those intricate ones which sort of draws the idea around bringing forth a life to this world, and throws in the love and responsibility into your thought pattern, and that crafted into a poem makes Welcome Child.
We do this poetry event to poems really touching us. And Mr. Simon, you've touched on the element of surely adding to the book by speaking your thoughts to we are our names. Maybe you can help us also touch on one poem that you feel, okay, this one is speaking to me, spoke to me after I read it, and it's because of A, B, C, and D. Which one is which within the book?
Yes, man. There's really so many, interesting poems in this book, and it's not even easy to to pick one particular one. And I would still go with We Are Our Names itself as for a start, because you just hit me with that one. Trust me. I didn't expect that one, so I would actually. Do you want me to read it?
You can. Go ahead, please.
Okay. So this one is titled "We Are Our Names." The title of the book. We are our names, the pain of spirits we are. Are we any more than a disgrace? Are we all we have been told? Are we anyone at all? Tell me who we are, lamentations. Tell me where the dead are. Have they become nothing but memory? Have the dead gone to heaven? Have they stayed rotten in the ground? Tell me where their life is. Has the body gone with it? Tell me where their voice is. Has it floated away to Elysium? Tell me where their names are. Have they dissipated in our ignorance? Tell me who we are. Have we been hidden as middle names? Have we been cast away as evil? Tell me, what have we been named? Tell me who you are beyond this world. Tell me where your roots are beyond the veil. Tell me how you have died, disgraceful descendants. Thank you.
I see the reason why it's even the title of the book. I see the reason. I see the reason. And of course, I would want to surely appreciate the fact that we are tapping into it. And of course, we would want to listen to the last poem by the author of the book. Which one are we getting to right now?
Okay, the last one. Let's see. I have right. I'll have to go with Magic Glance. And let's see, just a moment.
Page what?
Page 32, that would be. Magic Glance. And that will not be me reading it. I'm going to read it again. Because it's very short, I get to do a pretext. The idea is, as we go into the weekend, right now, our idea is either we have too many problems holding us back, and we decide to stay home, or we decide to cuddle into the bed for the long weekend and feel lonely and gloomy, or we have to realize that we are doing this at the expense of life, and we have to go out there and have fun because that's life. In which case, when we do go out there, we might have our magic guns to meet our loved one, and or perhaps just a spark from a stranger seated to next in a bus to make you feel like you're home for 2 more seconds, and some butterflies in the stomach, and that's what makes life beautiful. So, Salman, the magic glance.
The magic glance. The magic glance. Walking on my feet, breathing in my lungs, birds in my ears, my eyes on you, butterflies in my stomach. I knew it was you.
I know, let's get this too.
That's the spirit.
I know who to dedicate this poem to. But gentlemen, I would love to appreciate your time here. What is it that you might want to conclude with as we end this interview?
Well, in my case, February is finished. It's our month of love, but love is not gone.
True that.
And as we live through life, and this opportunity, I would like to also mention that there are people live among us that need a hand, one way or the other, to be held through their troubles, to be tapped on the shoulder, to be loved. People that need a little bit more care, might be autistic, or might actually have some mental problems, or might not have something so obvious. Our job is to go out there and love, and if you can do it through 1 or 2 poems, that's even better.
Love that one. Mr. Simon, what are we concluding with?
Yes, definitely. I think I would add on to what the author of your names had just said. I think I also believe in sharing, the best sharing moments, sharing time and being there for each other, that's we are all we have.
Yes, we are all we have.
We are all we have, so definitely we need to be there for each other and we need to be good to each other. So that's my message. Love one another. It's what we are here for. Love is, love conquers all. So let's practice love. Even as the weekend begins, let's just practice love and definitely look out for this book because it's going to be out very shortly and you need to actually prepare yourselves for this book. You need it in your shelves. Everybody needs this book in their shelves, so definitely that will be my last message. Look out for this book.
All right. That said, which social media platforms are we supposed to surely follow you on for more of these updates?
Generally, Facebook.
Yes.
Facebook is our primary platform. And I would like not to be followed directly, either under acrostics and Kalimba is doing a bit of publishing for us as well.
Okay.
So on Kalimba's page or on acrostics page, that's where our updates will be.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, you know where to surely get more updates, as it has been said, Kalimba or acrostics. Make sure that you tap into this energy as we are our names, and of course the Afro man is adding another name to him, maybe by becoming Mr. Romantic because of surely the magic grants or the energy that will surely follow through from such a book. Of course, it is really inspirational, and I appreciate Henry for surely putting up this masterpiece together, as it is surely a game changer and part of the game changers. And I'd say that this is 14/20/57. Let's close it off with this one, Coffee cover of Banner Boys, yeah. And of course, coming up after that, we have the headlines.